The idea that we're going to end war is silly. If you look around the planet, every country is armed to the teeth with aircraft carriers and jets with bombs. I mean, we have serious weaponry everywhere, and everyone's trying to figure out how to get robots that can fight. I mean, we've got atomic bombs, for God's sakes. The idea that all of a sudden we're going to stop using all that and all of that motivation that goes into making and keeping and practicing with all that stuff is just going to somehow dissipate and go away. That's not a reasonable thing to expect given what happens on this planet. And so we need to steel ourselves to the fact that war is going to be here for the foreseeable future. And when we can look at it that way, I mean, that might be our only chance of ever dismantling it, is understanding what it is within us that makes us fight each other like that. What are we really fighting about? And quit going, oh, it's just hatred, and and it's realize that it's going to take looking at ourselves and not the other person, but ourselves, which is the same as the other person, but we have to do it with ourselves to really own it, and looking at who we are and realizing that we're murderers, we're killers, we're just like lions who rip the throat out of a gazelle so they can eat, and who won't really rip the throat out of any other gazelles as long as they're full, but as soon as they get hungry, they're going to tear that gazelle apart. And that's how they eat. That's what they're supposed to eat. That's what they were made to eat. They're not doing one thing except what God or nature intended for them, and we're doing the same thing. And we can look at that, understand why, and then decide what we can really do about it. But the idea that you're just going to say everyone's so mean and so bad and you need to stop war, that's a childish way to look at a huge problem. And so we've got to start owning it and realizing that we are killers. And what are we going to do with that fact? And then we're trying to get off the planet. We're trying to move out into space. And when we went over the horizon in ships and found new lands, we discovered people. Yeah, of course we did, because we were a people and then they were new people. So we discovered them, which is all that it has ever meant. The people that try to pervert that are trying to tear the whole thing apart because they're not really part of the success. But for the people who are part of the success, when we leave the planet because of our success, we're probably going to meet people again, and they're going to be hostile towards us, and we're going to be hostile towards them, and we're not going to understand each other. And the universe is a hostile place with hurricanes and meteors that slam into planets and explosions. That's how we were created, so far as we know so far, through a violent explosion. Violence is an integral part of where we are. And we know that. So let's realize it and decide what we need to do in the face of what is.